Can I just point out how absolutely bonkers the political compass thing is? It's obviously all just propaganda at this point. I mean, you just have to look at what's on your screen right now to deduce how insane it is. I mean, sure, economically, you could argue that Labour is nowhere near the socialists that they desire to be. But the idea that the Green Party is only somewhat left of centre, that the Party Māori is literally pretty much just centre to slight centre left, is crazy. The idea that ethno-nationalist racists who want to implement policy which separates people and treats them differently based on their ethnicity is a barely authoritarian, slightly left-leaning party is insane. The idea that Labour is further to the right than I am, for example, when I literally take this political compass test, I come out around about here these days. It used to be kind of here, even used to be kind of here. But nowadays it's about here. I'm happy to do it again if you want to see it. So the idea that Labour's further right and more authoritarian than I am is kind of crazy. I mean, to be fair, there's a pretty solid argument that they're more authoritarian than I am because they're more authoritarian than National. They're more authoritarian than pretty much every party there, with the exception of maybe Te Pāti Māori, but I don't think they're ideologically coherent enough for you to be able to actually establish that properly. But yeah, again, it illustrates just how nonsensical the whole political compass thing is. I mean, let's look at New Zealand First, for example. New Zealand First is obviously right-leaning when it comes to economics, but in the context of New Zealand economics, it is about as centrist as it gets. The problem here is Labour, if you wanted to be as balanced as possible and not buy into the rhetoric and want to focus purely on policy, Labour is probably where Te Pāti Māori is. And then NZ First is probably, to be honest, kind of the same as Te Pāti Māori, but on the right side of things. And then Te Pāti Māori somewhere kind of over here in La La Land. And the Greens are right at the top left. That's how it is. The Greens top left. They're not libertarians in any sense of the word. Now, ACT economically, I mean, you can make them as right as you like. I don't really care. They are neoliberals to a fault. And they are libertarians for the most part. I mean, ACT is probably the only party on this little display that's accurate. The problem is you've got National as being that far to the right. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. National at best are as far right as where they've got Labour on this. At best. So it's nonsense because National is economically probably more to the right than I am, somewhat, not by much. The problem is their policy doesn't back it up because they're globalists. They're globalists, and as a result, their policy ultimately doesn't deliver the results you want. Their policy isn't New Zealand-centred, it's globalist-centred, and they're economically, they're not delivering the results that you would expect of neoliberal policy. They're delivering the results that you would expect of a fence-sitter who can't decide whether he wants to be a neoliberal or a socialist. But to that same measure, National's not particularly authoritarian either. I mean, the way this compass works... See, I just don't see National being stricter on authoritarian measures than I am, even though I'm not particularly authoritarian. But that's just saying a lot about this compass. So, I don't know, maybe you disagree with me. Let me know how you think about it all, because it's left me stumped. But all I can say is the Greens, they don't deserve this green area. They're definitely top left, no doubt about it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm ignorant. But I'd firmly place myself in kind of this little area. In fact, I'm going to go do it. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm going to go do it, and then I'm going to bring up where I stand relative to this. Need I say more? It kind of chops and changes because sometimes I have a kind of an adjustment in my view of an issue, whether I find it a strong agree or a semi-agree relative to, the last time I did it. So last time I did it, I think it was around this height, but it was a little bit more to the right economically. But yeah, my views on economics are rather inconsistent. So sometimes just those small changes can have a bit of an impact on this result. But just for context, That's where the political compass says I am relative to New Zealand political parties. So the party I'm most aligned to is Party Māori in theory. I'm the most compatible with on the compass. Well, we all know that's nonsense. And I think we could probably pretty comfortably say that I'm more to the right than NZ First, probably both economically and socially. So, most certainly more to the right economically and socially than Labour. Certainly more so socially than National as well, which tends to be how the authoritarian thing measures it. It should really say conservative and libertarian, in my opinion, because the questions aren't all that much in relation to authoritarianism. It's more conservatism and a rules-based order, which you can call authoritarian if you like, but I don't think it fairly represents what authoritarianism actually is. Like, if you wanted to do authoritarian on the left side here and then conservatism on the right side here, then you'd be onto something, because the right literally stands for liberty as far as I'm concerned, the left stands for authoritarian measures. Now, you've got some form of non-government nonsense going on down here, that's for sure, but, you know, it's not exactly a commonly held ideological belief. So yeah, I'm there, they're there. No one believes that for a second, mate. But let me know. If you are in the mood, go do it yourself. Let me know where you stand, because I'm a centrist, slightly authoritarian guy. Don't know about that one. Don't know about that one at all.